Digital hustle, and today's show, it's going to be a pretty unique show where we're talking to digital entrepreneurs and black entrepreneurs that are actually doing great things. Let it be in the marketing space, let it be in cryptocurrency. This buzzword is coming all the time these days. It's something that a lot of people are interested into, and I brought back John Lombela, a good friend of mine who's been playing in that space for quite a while. John is the cryptocurrency guru. I call him back that.
Go, guys.
And welcome back to the show.
John, we think, represents the future.
So can blockchain be a catalyst for development in Africa? Here is our interview with John Lombela.
John Lombela will talk to us about how hedge funds are navigating the market conditions.
I've seen some amazing people who are already working on phenomenal opportunities. And therefore, as entrepreneurs, and I'm an entrepreneur myself all the way from South Africa, it is important to always develop new things, right? So ambitiously build new cases beyond just financial services. What is important for us is to focus more on the applications that are going to serve the purpose of the public, the guys that we are actually solving problems for. So those are the things that we need to be able to focus on. Take a leap of faith. Make sure that you review your blockchain with the peers and your application to see if there are blockchain ready. So it is really exciting times.
Welcome back to the Digital Hustle, and today's show, it's going to be a pretty unique show where we're talking to digital entrepreneurs and black entrepreneurs that are actually doing great things. Let it be in the marketing space, let it be in cryptocurrency. This buzzword is coming all the time these days. It's something that a lot of people are interested into, and I brought back John Lombela, a good friend of mine who's been playing in that space for quite a while. John is the cryptocurrency guru. I call him back that.
Go, guys.
And welcome back to the show.
John, we think, represents the future.
So can blockchain be a catalyst for development in Africa? Here is our interview with John Lombela.
John Lombela will talk to us about how hedge funds are navigating the market conditions.
I've seen some amazing people who are already working on phenomenal opportunities. And therefore, as entrepreneurs, and I'm an entrepreneur myself all the way from South Africa, it is important to always develop new things, right? So ambitiously build new cases beyond just financial services. What is important for us is to focus more on the applications that are going to serve the purpose of the public, the guys that we are actually solving problems for. So those are the things that we need to be able to focus on. Take a leap of faith. Make sure that you review your blockchain with the peers and your application to see if there are blockchain ready. So it is really exciting times.
Well, look at you guys. I can see we've got an amazing audience, and I am actually excited to be welcoming my guest. And you know what? One by one, I'm going to be bringing in quite a few people. Please tell me where you are joining me from. I love to know exactly my audience. I love to know where you guys are tuning in from. And today I've got quite an amazing cast, amazing people that I'm going to be sharing this particular moment with, because we want to empower you guys with great knowledge. There is another man who's going to join us, Daniel Mancy, but he is going to join me in about 10 minutes. He's currently finishing another show, but you know what? The whole idea tonight is to empower you guys with quite a few knowledge and see exactly what we share. So please, as you tune in, tell me where you're from. Tell me where you're connecting from, whether you're connecting from the DRC, whether you're connecting all the way from Afghanistan or Iran, Iraq, or whether you're connecting from Benin or Toronto or Ghana or Nigeria, and we will be pleased to know exactly where you guys are from. You know what? And most importantly as well, what I want you guys to do is share the live, share this particular live. So hit on the share button. Make sure that you share with as many people as you can, because tonight is going to be exciting. And be prepared, guys, because not only this is an exciting session, but I think we are going to go for about an hour and 20 minutes, or an hour and 30 minutes tops. Okay, so please share with every single person who really wants to learn what are the strategies that you guys want to know when it comes to investing in real estate. Okay, so this is a great session that you ultimately do not want to miss. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Hey, thanks, John. Thanks for having us, brother.
It's always amazing to see you guys here, man. You know, I'm so excited for this particular show. I know Daniela is going to join us pretty soon. So without further ado, let me just introduce my guest. I see quite a few people. Jawad from Pakistan, my man. I'm very excited to see. Okay, I've got Jawad, I've got Kanya from Johannesburg. Welcome, Kanya. In fact, I need to show you guys on the screen. So here is Jawad. All right, this is my man all the way from Pakistan. I'm getting all the love from Pakistan, guys. Okay, all the love all the way from Pakistan.
Awesome.
My man. And of course, I've got Kanya, my man, joining us from Johannesburg. Okay, I've got let's see, I've got Telma from Nigeria. I love Nigeria. The one thing I love about Nigeria is egusi. That's what I love. When I'm there, the egusi soup.
Egusi, not egusi.
It's beautiful. By the way, I'm from Congo, right? So the Nigerian guys and the way they cook, the meat, everything else, this, you know, it tastes the same. The flavor is the same. We use the same ingredients. The only thing is they mix everything up, and I love it. I love it really much. Who else do we have on the show? Percy from Johannesburg, my man. Good to see you back here from Johannesburg. Who else do we have? Poe. All right, Poe. I believe Poe is all the way from Botswana. Thank you for the love. Thank you very, very much. Well, guys, share the button. Share with as many people as you can, okay? Because tonight is going to be an impactful session whereby we are going to talk about some amazing things that, you know, many of you just hear the buzzword about real estate. A lot of you talk about real estate. A lot of you, especially right now, I mean, I see on Twitter, many people are asking the question, hey, but how do I get involved in real estate? Is this the right time to get started with real estate? Okay. A lot of people asking questions. Oh, well, this is the pandemic. So the Reserve Bank has reduced the interest rate. So where can I find good properties? You probably have heard people saying what this is currently it is the buyer's market, right? But if it is a buyer's market,
Sure.
I've seen some of these comments saying, okay, it is the buyer's market, but clearly I've been looking at the wrong place. So we want you guys to be able to identify exactly what this place is all about. So I've got somebody else from Pretoria. Mashallah, thank you very much. I believe this is Kevin, right? So Kevin from KevTex Computing. So this is come say hello. This is my son. He wants to say hello, guys.
Hi. How are you?
Mommy, okay.
John Lombela the Junior.
Say hello, everybody.
Hi. Oh, you look so cute.
I'm going to be a successful real estate investor. Can you say that? I'm going to be a successful real estate investor. Can you say that? I'm going to be a successful. Say that. I'm going to be successful.
He's shy. He's
Have to
shy.
milk.
All right, guys. So before, without any further ado, I want to let my guest to be introduced here. So because now I have all of a sudden I have an amazing guy here who definitely want to be part of this show. But you know what? He's going to be part of the show. And so how about we introduce? So please, Milan, talk to me about who you are so that our new guests can understand exactly where you're from. Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Thanks for having me. Everybody, welcome, welcome in the right place. Redefining your hustle. Mila Milosevic here. I'm the co-founder of Wealth Alliance and one of the creators of Think and Grow Rich, South Africa, unlimited trading, different brands here and there. So basically, I've been investing in property for the last 13, 14 years now. And I have different strategies in my sleeve. I'm also a developer, residential, partially commercial. So what I normally do, I'm one of the mentors with Think and Grow Rich and Wealth Alliance. We teach people how to invest in property, even if you don't have any of your own money. So that's, for most people, will be interesting. But also, even if you have your properties in your sleeve already, how to grow your portfolio, how to tap into residential, commercial developments as well. So what we've done, we partner up with top residential commercial developers in South Africa. We build a program and a team of experts, and that's what we do. We teach people how to break into the property, how to grow their portfolio. We're going to talk about tonight as well different strategies, where the opportunities are in property market, especially in South Africa. Just to let you know, to get you excited, there is 10 different ways of funding your deals apart from the banks, but now using banks is amazing.
I want to know about all them 10, man.
Your ways, right? And there's also about 15 different strategies that you can use. So we're going to talk about some of them today. So yeah, that's about me. So guys, get excited.
Fantastic, man. This is beautiful. Guys, as you join in, tell me where you are from, where you're dialing in from. But also tell me whether you want to be a successful real estate and property developer, because we are going to talk about a few things that are just going to show you how you can actually get there. Okay. And share this live with as many people as you can, please. Benjamin, please go on. Benjamin, can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you so much, John, for the opportunity once again. My name is Ben. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Go on, please.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello, John. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Just
okay,
go on.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Benjamin Baridam. I'm speaking from Ghana. Yeah, I am the CEO and founder of Homebridge Tech Solutions Limited. I've been in the real estate industry for a little over 5 years now. I came into the industry and saw a lot of bottlenecks. I saw a lot of, a lot of things that need to be automated, from, the private to the public sector to the corporate. I have consulted for several banks in Ghana here, helping them in, securing properties and a whole lot of individuals and companies. Yeah, but I just realized that the industry was not open to everybody. It was just reserved for, a few institutions and a few high net worth individuals with deep pockets. So then we began to craft, I started, putting together a system, that can open up the industry to everyone. Yeah. So my passion, my goal is on solving housing problem in Africa. But how do we want to do that? We just don't want to do that, but we also want to create wealth from it. So Homebridge have put together a strategy that allow everyone. So our slogan is creating access for all in real estate. For instance, real estate investment in Africa, is going to change because we are bringing the blockchain aspect into and tokenization into the real estate space. So you can we are talking about fractionalization. You can fractionalize a property. You can invest into any property from anywhere in the world. So currently, we are working on a project that will be putting out 200,000 housing units across the 16 regions in Ghana. And guess what, guys? This is going to be tokenized. Every one single of the properties are going to be on blockchain. So we are opening up, whether you're in Africa, in the diaspora, whether you are anywhere in the world, you can invest. So trust, we are bringing back trust in the real estate ecosystem. Thank you very much, John, for having me.
Well,
we'll talk more.
Fantastic. Beautiful. Just like you've mentioned right there, guys. I mean, real estate has been, I wouldn't say taboo subject for quite a long time, right? But I think that Benjamin has mentioned quite a few keywords about opening up investment opportunities to the global market. Because the one thing when it comes to investing, it seems as though for a very long time, investing has always been previously limited to only those with deep pockets. So if you don't have deep pockets, you will not be able to engage in any particular project with regard to the real estate or whatever that is. So the show today is about how do we empower you guys with the knowledge that you need to have for you to understand that in fact, even if you don't have a single cent in your pocket, but you have the willpower to change the situation around you, you will know exactly how to get started with real estate investing. And that's the aim of this particular conversation, guys. On Monday, I brought in Milan to discuss exactly about his journey, how he became an entrepreneur in this particular space. But today, it is about encouraging you to learn about all the different strategies that you need to know for you to become a successful investor. Okay. So because we talked about alternative investment, guys, what I want you guys to do is let's touch on a little bit about what alternative investment means to you. Milan, I want you to talk to me about it. What does alternative investment mean to you? And of course, I'm going to give my own definition as well as Benjamin can his own as well.
Okay.
Milan, go on. Milan, if you can hear me, Milan, I think your connection is a bit slow. Yeah, please go on.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about what alternative investment means to you.
So, I mean, look, most people, when they want to go into real estate property investing, right, they're always looking at the banks, right? What is my credit score? What am I qualified? Do I have any money to buy properties? Because that's the old misconception. That's how people would invest, right? Like based on your how much you qualify for that bond, right? But what if you don't qualify for that bond? For most people, that's basically the end of the story, and they give up already before they started. But I realized that there's so much more out there. Like, is there any other way that apart from the banks that I can invest in property? So comes with the knowledge, right? Learning, how do I do that, right? So first thing what I learned is like, okay, even if I don't have any money, what can I do next? What if I have access? What if I have access to a deal that is a pretty good deal that I know that somebody would be able to invest and make some profit? Why don't I find that deal and pass that deal to my network of investors? Like, but then the next question is like, okay, I don't have a network. Who do I pass this deal to, right? Then the next step will be, let's build that network. Let's see where property investors are so we can all get together heading in the same direction. So basically, that's how I started. We call this sourcing agents, sourcing professionals, one of the easiest ways to start generating money in property, finding deals, passing these deals to your network of investors, people who have money, but they just don't have time. They're looking for ways to invest, right? They just don't spend much of their time. So if you come as an investor, somebody say, hey, John, hey, guys, I have a deal and I've done my numbers. It's in a good area. We can flip this property 6 to 8 months later on. Your profit will be 15%. Then most investors will say, yes, let's sit down and have a chat. Now, us investors, we don't mind paying for this kind of service because as long as we're going to see the profit at the end of the day, as long as we are saving time, right? So that's one of the ways. Again, I always say this to my students. I have quite a lot of them. I always say, look, if the deal is good, money will come. Money will come. If you come to me and present the deal and say, look, it's in this area, these are the potential opportunities, strategies, right? Then most people will look into it. Okay, let's see the potential threats. What can we really do with it? Can we build something at the back of that house? There's a lot of different things you have to take into consideration, numbers and opportunities. But then if everything makes sense, investor will be lining up to invest in these kind of deals. I mean, obviously, we're looking at, apart from the banks, right? Looking to partnering up with someone else, whether you are the one who'll be doing the deal, doing everything pretty much so, and maybe partner up your funds that you have. Might be an option to, most people recently, they like the idea of stock wars, right? Let's put some money together. Let's buy a property for each one of these members down the line, right? A lot of different options. But first, I think the most important step, John, you have to agree as well, is overcome that mindset that if I not qualify for that bond, if my credit is bad, I have no other options, which is completely opposite. Comes with the knowledge. Learn what are my other options. We're talking also about bridging financing. You can get money 24 hours later if the deal is good, right? They don't mind paying for that, right? So comes with the knowledge. Get enough knowledge. Learn these ways of funding. Learn the strategy. Start one by one, and eventually one will go through.
Fantastic. I think you've mentioned a key element there. It starts with the mindset. So you need to be able to have the correct mindset for you to. Because some people would say, you know what? Okay, let's say I drive down Vitkopen, or I go in a brand new area, wherever I am. It could be in Italy, it could be in Dubai, it could be in Bahrain or whatever, and I see a beautiful property, and somebody approaches me and say, "Hey, you know what? Would you like to come for a tour?" Especially when you go to Dubai, right? So this guy's coming in a luxury car that they normally take you in a Mercedes, and they say, "Hey, you know what? I would like to show you a property," and they take you about for 2 or 3 hours drive around, and you're seeing some amazing things. They're showing you all the portfolio, the hotels and the rooms and all these 5-star beautiful things. But in the end, when they mention to you the amount, they say, okay, it will only, they often say it will only cost you $350,000. Only cost you $350,000. And then you look in your pocket, you're like, oh, flip, you know what? I ain't got that kind of money. So I think the think and grow rich mindset needs to be taught, needs to be applied. So you can realize it's not so much about you not having the money in your pocket right now, but it is about, okay, do you see an opportunity? That's one. And number two, can you do something with that particular opportunity? Number three, if you don't have the money, do you think do you have a network of people with access to the money? If you do, then how can you structure the deal so that you can actually 100%. Get the money? Because if you don't have the money to invest, guess what? You have an opportunity, access to the opportunity, but you may have access to somebody with the money. And the question is, you need to be able to bridge the two together. And when you bridge, you do your first deal. If you succeed in your first deal, you open doors for you to be able to do the second deal by yourself. Right?
Absolutely.
And by the way, before I move into Benjamin, I want to welcome a good friend, Daniele Mansi. Daniele was here with me about 3 weeks ago, and I think we talked about on a great length about financing on the blockchain and all that kind of stuff. Daniele, first of all, why don't you talk once again, reintroduce yourself to the audience, because we've got a new audience here today, carrying on from the last time you were here with me on the show. But I want you to say where you are, where you're from, what do you do, and right now we are talking about alternative investment, and I want you to mention to the people here, what is alternative investment meaning for you?
I cannot hear.
I can hear you loud and clear. So while you're sorting out that sound, Benjamin, what I want you to do is I want you to talk exactly about. So today we have quite a few issues with regard to the sound. So Daniele, can you hear me now?
I can't hear anything.
I don't think.
Okay, so while Daniele is coming back, Benjamin, what I want you to do is I want you to talk about what alternative investment means to you.
Yeah, thank you, John, for the opportunity once again. First of all, I want to talk about one of the strategies we are introducing into the real estate space, starting from Ghana. We're talking about property tokenization, okay, whereby people can actually own fractions of properties. Okay, so we have come together. We've come up with a strategy where you can own fractions. You can hear me?
No,
okay,
go on. Carry
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can actually, you don't need to own the whole building. A lot of Africans, a lot of Ghanaians, let me speak from where where I live. Okay, they walk around with their money looking for where to invest, looking for investment. Everybody's fed up with the bank and stuff like that. So there have been a lot of scam programs in Ghana, and boom, it just hit me, Benjamin. But this can be better with real estate. Okay, so I sat down and I walked this through with my team, and I sat down with them and we began to put the plan together. So today we are opening up so that people can buy fractions of home. So say we have a unit of apartments being built. Okay, you can actually step in and have a unit of the token. A unit, it won't be less than $1, but everybody can afford $1. In Ghana, real estate is a big market right now. It's booming, but a lot of people are still renting. A lot of people are still struggling with housing. A lot of people are also looking for alternative investment, but they are not looking at the real estate area. So what we are bringing is that, we're bringing that change whereby they shouldn't look elsewhere. Okay, they should look into the real estate space. Why do we want to do that? We want to do that because I have realized in my short journey in real estate that a lot of African developers, they travel, they send applications, they send proposals, to the United States, to UK, everywhere, looking for money to build house for Africans. Okay, so we want to bridge that gap. We want to say, hey, Africans, invest into this project. So when the project is kicking off, traditionally in real estate, we have what you call off-plan sale. Okay, everybody in real estate should understand that language where you say off-plan. So what we are doing is when we give that off-plan opportunity, it's not just for you to come and own an apartment. No, you can actually invest. As a young Ghanaian, as a young African, you're starting life. Instead of you to put your money in the bank, you can actually invest and have your token. And this is already insured because the token can never leave your hand. It's in your wallet. Okay, so you have this token, the digital representation of this property. So you can buy as much as you want. We are talking about just $1. So anybody, that is where anybody can come in. So we are actually going to create access for all. We are creating access for all in real estate through this tokenization. And the second thing I want to look at is also the rent aspect. Okay, in Ghana, about 80% of the population are renting today. 80% of the population. Now, a lot of real estate companies, when they are coming into the industry, everybody's just doing the same thing. Everybody's focusing on how to build some house and get people to buy it. So the issue in the Ghanaian market right now is how to liquidate this asset. Currently, bank is running. If any bank hear about real estate, boom, they're running away. I told my banker friend.
We're gonna come and talk about the importance of liquidity in the market at some point. And I think you've raised sure. You've raised a really important aspect of this, that it will be so key for us to talk about it. And I think I want to bring back Daniele. Daniele, if you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up, and I'm gonna let you speak. Fantastic. So what I want you to do, Daniele, is tell me where you are, where you're from, and this is beautiful. Now I can see you guys pretty clear. Fantastic. So I want you to jump in and talk to me about what you do and why you are so fascinated about the digital financial market, because at some point we are going to talk about financial liquidity and what it means for the real estate. All right. And also you will chime in with regard to the tokenization. I've got quite a few guests today who really want to grasp and understand exactly what it means to tokenize. And but for now, I want you to tell me exactly where you're from and so forth. Please speak to the audience so far right now. Thank you. Okay, I've got a problem with the sound. I can't hear you. I cannot hear you, but it seems like you can hear me well. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Fantastic, but I can't hear you. So you might need to change the setting on your sound. So just get out and come back in, allowing your sound while I carry on with the other folks right now. Okay, so we're going to carry on, and I'll bring you back in so you can actually talk to the audience so far. So having mentioned that, and because Daniela is still having quite a few issues, and guys, it is, first of all, it is so important that you guys stick around and prepare your questions, because we're talking about real estate, we're talking about property development, and we are talking about alternative investment opportunities that any of you can find irrespective of where you are. Okay, Benjamin, you mentioned something phenomenal just earlier on, and this reminds me, and I don't know if anybody remembers the timeshare opportunity. Timeshare, have you guys heard about the timeshare?
Sure.
Timeshare is simply fractional ownership, guys, whereby especially in the hotel and the traveling and the tourism space, where back in the days the American guys came up with the model of timeshare. So because they know that somebody can own a hotel room, and imagine, for example, if that particular hotel room, you've bought the room cash, but it's never been utilized throughout the year. Literally, you are losing out on money. So the timeshare market was created for people to be able to share resources, pool resources, and allow anybody, all investors, to be able to earn an income based on what that hotel joint was actually making at that particular time. So that's why timeshare was created, and we're doing something similar but more sophisticated with regard to the blockchain space. So, but I want to move into another step, another question here, guys. What is so attractive about real estate and property development? Milan, I want you to get started. Please tell me exactly what do you find so attractive about the space?
I mean, look, when you look at it, real estate and property in general, people are always going to need a shelter regardless of what's happening in the market, right? Whether it's pandemic or any other crisis, people always need a shelter. So it's really positioning yourself ahead of time and see where you can spot more opportunities, right? I mean, again, I always say this, like never relying on one strategies, but combining residential with possibly commercial, or more like going into developments much higher end, right? But you see right now, if you look at it right now, pandemic, what's happening right now, property market is hit hard, right? However, residential market is still on the level. You can have agreements with your landlord, with your tenants. You can still get into some sort of agreement, and if you have more properties than one, you should be still kind of going through this period of time, not really getting affected as much as you should. But again, it's all about preparing for this moment for the next time when it happens. And property will always be something that people will need, shelter, right? Regardless where you're from. Now, you as an investor, you need to be able to identify these opportunities. Okay, where I'm going to invest, which area, what am I really looking from properties? Am I looking to invest for the long term, or I'm going to do some flips or different things? I want to do into cash flow, right? Cash flow for me is the king. Right now, we all know cash is the king, right? How much money you have now to sustain you through this amount of time that we're going through a lockdown. So opportunity is there, just knowing where to find that opportunity and what you're going to do with it, right? If you just focus, okay, I'm just going to go straight into commercial, right now you're screwed. Commercial is suffering massively, right? You don't know what to do next, right? Even though there's a massive deals right there, but I always believe you should combine these kind of strategies with other strategies that in case that one fails eventually down the line, you should be in a good position with other ones. So there's a massive opportunity right now, especially right now, I believe is one of the greatest opportunity of our lifetime is happening right now and is about to happen after this lockdown, with all this massive amount of motivated sellers coming up from shell that will need to sell their properties. So for someone who knows what that really is, they should be able to score big.
Beautiful. Daniele, can you hear me now? You just sound perfect.
I can hear you.
Man, I want you to tell me exactly where you are, where you're from, what are you doing in the financial market, and why is this space so interesting? Why are you excited about it? You have some amazing nuggets that I want to share with the audience. I see Tutu and I see V. These are the people who want to learn more about the tokenization of real estate. And the two bottom individual are the people that we'll be talking about it. And the one on the right, my man Milan is a successful real estate investor and property developer. But this is about sharing the knowledge, talking about alternative investment, and helping people to identify exactly these opportunities. But also, let's talk a little bit about the mindset so we can prepare them and say, hey, you know what? You too can become an investor. It's not about just having big pockets, but it's about having the right mindset, the think and grow rich mentality. Please tell me where you're from. Introduce yourself to the audience, please.
So first of all, I'm from Italy right now. Kind of lockdown period. It's an interesting period of time. But I'm an engineer, which joined finance later, which is kind of counterintuitive. Because if you study finance, you trouble with engineers. And if you study engineering, you have trouble with finance. So I've been trying to connect engineering with finance and now with technology, meaning the blockchain and the rest. So I'm director of BlockCerts and president of Fusion STX. Essentially, what we're building with the BlockCerts, we start from the business, we tokenize the business, so we create a primary and secondary market in mostly three verticals. One, it's sport and entertainment. Another one is finance, and real estate is a subcategory of it. And the third one is health as a whole. So I'm all in when it comes down to finance, to investment, to regulations, and anything about that.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what does alternative investment mean for you?
Well, we can discuss for weeks about it. So alternative investment, to me, in very simple term, is an investment that does not classify in standard terms.
Yeah.
So For example, anything which is a crypto or token related, it is an alternative investment because it is not commonly understood and commonly used by the people in the main street. So in very simple terms, to me, anything which is digital like crypto, but also token being utility, security, asset-backed, bond, whatever, for me is the main class of investment I'm focused at. So regardless of what is the definition, alternative or not, that's for me my daily life.
Beautiful. Great. So you've mentioned that one of the subcategories that you deal with is real estate in terms of tokenizing businesses and so forth. What makes real estate an attractive opportunity for you?
Let me start from my, let's say, the motivation why I'm so excited about real estate. So I come a little bit back in time since 2008 meltdown, which happened in the US, and the crisis, or of the subprime and the collapse of the financial market back in the date. I mean, it's 12 years ago, but it seems to be yesterday or a long time ago. So in fact, I was so fascinated to step into it and to understand what really didn't work well during that crisis. I didn't have much experience before. But then I started to realize that what happened in 2008 is something that happened even before and before and before. It's the same kind of story, which repeats with kind of different characteristics, but the fundamentals did not change. So, and in fact, and if you think about the reason why this happened is because of essentially, in very simple term, lack of transparency. So meaning the stakeholders were doing activities that not clearly visible. And one of the key fundamentals that was missing, it was transparency. So the main motivation for me to bring real estate mainstream in the tokenized business is essentially to bring the trading, or to bring the aspect of the tokenization transparent to investors in the primary and the secondary market. So as people that buy something, they see what is this about, and regardless whether it is a fraction of ownership, is a derivative, is a bond, doesn't really matter, as long as the asset is visible, so in a tokenized format, and is being traded in a regulated exchange with transparency. I'm so excited about that because this does not exist in the traditional finance world.
Exactly, and you've mentioned twice already two types of market, the primary market and the secondary market. I'm going to come back to that as we proceed because I know that particular element is going to be very, very important, because when we talk about places to liquidate the asset, we look into either the primary or the secondary market, and that's where liquidity is available for investors and so forth. Benjamin, I want you to tell me exactly, and I think you've kind of touched about it earlier on. I want you to tell me a little bit about why is real estate an important aspect for you, and maybe from a Ghanaian perspective. And I know Ghana is prime for this particular market. I know for a fact that Ghana, Nigeria, these are mature markets. And the fact that the government is looking to build about 200,000 units, of which I am pretty excited about it, and you and I are working as partners to be able to bring that to the masses and to investors. So I would like you to tell me and the audience right now, why do you think the real estate is an exciting opportunity for you? Please go on.
Well, real estate for me, I see it to be something that has been here before I was born and is going to be around even after I would die. You know, like my brother rightly said, shelter is very important. Now, let me just go back a little on the story that what inspired me to come into real estate. Okay, I lived in this apartment in Accra, and a family next door, you know, the family traveled for a funeral, the husband and the wife, and they left a family, three children at home. And these children, a landlord threw them out. I just came out of my room, my apartment. I was hearing noise, and I saw they've thrown people. People were just carrying things and throwing them outside. So I was really touched. So the name Homebridge, that's how it came about, because I began to think, how can this problem be solved? I mean, this tenant, his rent, or their rent was just expired for 3 days, just 3 days. Okay, and the practice in Ghana, the law says, if your rent contract is over, you know, you have at least 3 months, okay, to renew the rent. So, but this guy broke the law, but nobody cares. This thing was on TV. It was on the TV, and I don't know how, but this is what inspired me to come into how. So I began to think, how can I solve housing problem for these people who are struggling? Okay, so that's the little story, of how I came into real estate. Now, when I step into real estate, I realized that the opportunity is endless. Is endless. So I was, the first time I was a little bit distracted because I didn't know where to focus, whether it's residential, whether it is commercial, so I just had to say, hey, remember what you really, really intended to do, which is solving housing problem. So I decided to go into residential. And the exciting thing about it is you're going to make money, and you are also going to give people shelter. And we're talking about Africa, where 60 million plus housing deficit, at 60 million plus today. So the government, they don't have their hand on it. And that's a problem. For me as an entrepreneur, I see a very, very, very big gold mine there. Okay, 60 million housing units. So every day I think about it. So anybody who is thinking of investment, I don't think you should. This is the time to take your money to go and put in some bank, to go and tie down your money somewhere. Because, hey, there are two things here. You're going to make money. You're also going to help families. Okay, people are not going to be sleeping on the road. So that is what we're talking. So that's the exciting thing about real estate for me, John. Thank you.
Beautiful. Look, all of you are saying some amazing things, and you've just nailed everything there. And when you talk about keeping money in the bank, a lot of people think that keeping money in the bank is a solution for you guys. No. I'm one of those who actually don't believe in the banks. Banks are the biggest crooks in the world, guys. Yes, I just said it. Okay? Banks are the crooks in the world, and you will.
That's right.
About why they are. Keeping money in your bank is not yielding an income for you right now. Okay, keeping money in the bank is not going to yield. In fact, the fact that central banks around the world are printing money through a process known as quantitative easing. Danielle and I can talk about that from today until the end of the year.
Yeah, it's so nice. I mean, if you explain to people, it doesn't mean printing money. There's no money to print.
but here's the one thing, and I want us to dive into the game right now. How does one get involved in real estate and property development? And this is where I want to bring in Milan to really, with your expertise, with your experience, please tell the audience, pretty much the guys who are excited about this, how can one get involved in real estate and property development right now? I want to talk to those with money, but I also want to talk to those with no money, because immediately after this, we start talking about the strategies.
I'm glad you asked. I mean, I always get the same question. How do I start, right? If I don't have any knowledge or any money, right? Or even if I have, how do I scale it to the next level, right? It all starts with the knowledge, simple. Learning and learning more, it's never-ending story, because whatever you know right now is just the beginning. Regardless of which stage in life you are, there's always someone who knows more than you, who's got more money, more properties than you. The next question is, how do I take myself to the next level? What else do I need to learn to eventually become a developer, residential, to get into property, right? So it's the knowledge. Who do you need to learn from, right? So what kind of knowledge you need to have, right? Learning about strategies, alternative ways of funding, learning as much as you can, and most importantly, sticking around successful people in property. In this case, we talk about property, right? Who are the people in property space? Like this tiny group right now, people already established. Who are these people to teach me, to show me a different way to, because in life you have a choice. You can do something by yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is you're going to make a lot of mistakes. It's going to take a long time. If you don't quit, eventually you might get somewhere, or you can take someone to guide you, right? Someone who's been through rough time, who made mistakes, to say, hey, don't do it this way, position yourself that way. To me, this was a success, truly success in my life, that when somebody started guiding investor, I started seeing success and saving me a lot of time and money. So getting the right knowledge, learning how property world works, and eventually through all that knowledge, getting a bigger picture, you will be able to establish what is of your main interest. Which strategy are you most appealing? Is it students accommodation? Is it residential? Eventually they want to go into commercial, right? But if you don't know any of that stuff, it becomes too much intimidating, right? And then you just, okay, I just know the bank, and that's all there is. Outside of that, there's nothing. All what people talking about doesn't work. You already limit yourself. Why not even going there trying to find out how are the people becoming successful? Who are these people? How did you get there? How did you start it? Look, I came to South Africa 2010. We got married with my wife, and I could barely speak English 15 years ago, by the way. But when I came to South Africa, my mind was always fixed into, I'm looking for opportunities. Let me see where these opportunities are. And we started talking about property. I started seeing so much opportunities in property. I didn't even know much about it, but I already started seeing we can do it this way, this way. And the more you learn, the more opportunities you will see. That's the beautiful part of learning, because the more knowledgeable you are, the more you'll see what to do, what not to. So it's all about really doing something, learning something from people who've been there before, and building your network of like-minded people. We know this before. I say this all the time to my students, like, build your network and your network will grow, because all these opportunities, when you present them to someone else, like-minded people, together we're stronger, right? Together we're heading in the same direction, and then eventually you'll be able to see your success.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think with that being said, the one thing that I really want to talk about right now, and I'm getting quite a few exciting questions. Guys, this is an interactive session. Everybody who is watching live, we're not doing this for nothing. We're doing this to educate you. We're doing this to help you as we are building momentum, as we are building, helping you guys to learn better. That's why I encourage you to prepare your question, and I'm seeing quite a few interesting questions right now, which I will pull out to the screen. But what you just mentioned right now, Milan, I want to talk about what are some of the strategies that can be employed to actually get started about, being a real estate investor as well as being a property developer. This is going to be an interesting because I'm going to throw in quite a few other questions that the audience may not necessarily have, and I may not necessarily show on the screen, but quite a few things that I have on my paper, and just for the sake of the audience right now. So please tell me, what are some of the strategies? And I know you've mentioned a few times that there are just about 10 ways. We may not talk at great length about all these 10 ways during this particular show, because today's a special show, guys. It's going to be about 1 hour and 30 minutes. Normally it's about an hour, but we're going to be 1 hour and 30 minutes. So please stick around and continue sharing with other people so they can join in and so forth. And tell me where you are from. Milan, please go on. What are the key strategies that you think somebody with money or no money can use to get started in real estate?
Right. I mean, look, I always give people a choice. You have a choice. If you have the money, what are you going to do with it? You can buy a property, or can the same amount of money buy you several properties that is going to generate you cash flow that will eventually pay for that property of your dreams? But right now it's a bit difficult since we all in a lockdown. I mean, in South Africa, we're waiting for that level 3 in June. Well, the movement will be a bit more kind of flexible. But what you can do right now, you can build relationships. You can build relationships with estate agents, spread the word and say, hey, look, I'm buying properties cash, even though if you don't have any money, right? But you say, I'm buying properties cash. Let me know, is there anybody there who's willing to sell? Possibly motivated seller, below market value. If you have any, right? If you have any deals that might be a cash flowing deals, that if somebody buys the property now, they'll be able to see profit in their pocket from that first month. Now, the next thing, estate agent is going to say, hey, I have a cash buyer, I have a motivated seller. Here's a potential property. So what you're doing right now, you're building relationships, right? And now you're also building your network during this lockdown time. You're participating in panels like this one right now. You're joining networking sessions with different estate investors, and you say, I'm a professional property investor and I'm looking for deals. I also have deals in my sleeves. So building relationship with investors, with like-minded people. First thing what I would start, if any of you guys, regardless where you're coming from in property space, start looking for deals and start passing these deals onto your network that you already built relationship with. Because this way you're going to get a certain amount of profit for finding deals. Do enough of these deals, eventually you can buy your own first investment deals and make some profit as well. That should be the so build a relationship looking for deals. I mean, all of us driving around, regardless where you're from, there's always some different distressed properties that you might be looking around next to the road, right? Why not go to the person there, to the buyer, to the owner, and say, hey, look, I'm a property investor looking to buy your property. I'm buying properties cash. Let's have a chat, right? And person will say, okay, this is a distressed problem, looking to sell it. Also, we're going through a bit of a lockdown, difficult time. We're also willing to lower the price. What offer do you have? But again, comes with the knowledge. You need to know what kind of offer to put down. Even though it might sound like a good deal, but if numbers don't make sense, you shouldn't go for it. So you need to sit down, let's see the numbers. But for that reason, you need to have someone to guide you. Someone to sit down with you and say, hey, look, is this a good deal or not? Is it a distressed property? If I buy that property, can I fix it, flip it, make some profit down the line? What is the area, right? Something called SAP, strategy first, area, and then property by the end of the day. So when we establish the strategy, we need to know the area where that's going to be, wherever you're from, but you don't have to invest in the area where you're from. And then eventually we're going to go into the deal. A lot of different, you can go into agreements with, you don't even have to have any of your money. What if I go to you, John, and say, hey, John, here's an opportunity right now. If you buy this property, it's in a good area. There's a tenant already in place. Already, we checked the tenant. They have a good record. If you buy this property, this will be a cash flowing property, putting the money in your pocket from that first month. Couple of thousand rand, maybe $100, $200. How's that sound to you?
Absolutely, sounds good. And I would definitely love to have an income from one.
Right, so you didn't wait for 10 years to see profit in your pocket from that first month. So that's the cash flowing deals that we're also looking for. We're looking for, let's say, to buy a property, fix it, and eventually flip it. But ideally, we're looking for cash flowing deals. That means I need to buy a property that with rentals is going to put the money in my pocket from that first month. Again, comes with the numbers, doing a lot of research prior doing anything. But then again, coming across, hey, I'm buying properties cash. Would you all agree? I mean, if you say like that, that means you kind of come across that you have money, right? But doesn't mean that what it means is in my network, I have people with the money who are buying properties. I'm just a middle person in a way. This is simple for beginners. Become a middle person, look for deals, learn how to find deals and how to pass them to your network. Comes across as build your network, build relationships, and then eventually all these estate agents, doesn't have to cost you anything. Just call them. Get a list of estate agents, different areas, call them. Look, I'm looking for deals. Do you have any deals below market value? Do you have any motivated sellers right now? Do you also have any distressed properties right now? Let me know. I'm buying properties cash. That's all you have to say. Less than a minute. They have you in their database. Next time when something pops up, and it's going to pop out in a month or two during this lockdown, motivated sellers will pop out. You're the first person they're going to call you. And guess what you're going to do then? You're going to call me. You're going to call John. You're going to call Massimo, Daniela, right? And then I'm bad with names. Benjamin, right?
Yes, Benjamin,
that's what we do. That's what we play, right? And we have Benjamin. Sorry, I'm really bad with names. So simple. I mean, it's all about fixing your mindset into I'm looking for opportunities. Where is the opportunity right now? What can I do with this knowledge? What kind of network I have? Let's connect people together so we all benefit. There's nothing wrong with that. And people are willing to invest as long as the numbers make sense.
Beautiful. I think what I really get away from that are the following. During this moment of lockdown, if you really want to get involved in real estate property, start doing your research. Okay, so if you really want to do that, start doing your research. Start building relationships. Build relationships with people who've got money and are often interested about real estate. Build a relationship with agents. And show up as a cash buyer, somebody who's got the money. And essentially what you're doing is identifying exactly from the network of agents who potentially has an opportunity right now that either you can buy or you can pass on to your network. And if you pass on to your network, you are just a middle layer. And you definitely will be able to make a margin right there, building up momentum and building up expertise and building up cash flow towards making your biggest purchase as a single transaction for yourself. So those are the one thing that I actually understand from there. Benjamin, I want you to tell me from your perspective, how do you think, without looking into the whole blockchain space or tokenization aspect of things, how do you think, and I know you've told me a beautiful story, especially how you helped the CEO of VistaLux to be able to do quite a few things and find land. I want you to give some insight to the audience right now as to what can one do from the other part of the world in Africa to get started in real estate.
Yeah. I came into real estate through service. Okay, you can leverage. So I'm going to speak on leverage. I'm going to explain how I came into real estate from leveraging.
I love that
Okay,
already.
on relationship, just like my brother said. Yeah. So I simply looked at the space and I saw a loophole. Okay, I met this man some years ago. He's a developer. He has this project all over the country, and I came in, on just a piece of land deal, a 2,000 acres plot of land where they're building affordable housing, and I came to this man's house and I saw over 500 people, waiting. They are calling on each and every one to come. I realized all these people came from all the regions in Ghana coming to sell land to one man. And I said, oh boy, I saw the opportunity there right away. So I followed this deal. At the end of the day, every contract was signed, but payment was not made. The project, there was some issue from the government perspective. So I believe in what our brother said, relationship, okay? The guy who introduced me to this man said to hell, this man, you should go to hell. So I kept on communicating with this man. A year after, this man, I just said, hello, hi. It was a Christmas season. It was in Christmas season. And I just wished him Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Poof, this man started typing. Okay, and we got talking. He said he was in the States. That when he comes down, I said, what's going on? What's new? This new year, any project, anything happening? He said, yes, I'm coming to start my project. The project will stop, Benjamin. When I come down, I'd like us to meet. I said, hold on, I have something to tell you. I can solve the land problem, okay? Instead of you dealing with 1,000 people from different places, this man, I realized he wasn't going to site. He wasn't going to look after this land. So you just show up, you say you have a land, he's going to sign agreement with you, so provide the land. He doesn't go to the places. So he had a lot of litigations. So I pitched him within 5 minutes. I pitched him, gave him a 5-minute pitch on how a Homebridge can solve that problem. And I waved to him. We did a WhatsApp call. He said he's going to call me on video. He called me. I said, I have a document to show you. I have over 6,000 acres of land as we speak. The MOU is signed with my company. I can give you this land to start the project. So we are talking about 100% margin, guys, 100% margin. And the investor has taken it and is smiling. John, I told you, he told me the land is too cheap. This is 100% margin. And guess what, guys? I didn't buy this land. My company did not purchase this land. We did not bring any bank into this deal. So we simply saw the loophole and stepped in. By the time the man arrived from America, we sat down in his house. I opened my laptop. I pitched him through what we're doing. I realized one of his big problems was how to put together this whole project. I mean, in terms of how is he going to sell it? Because they're using a very fast technology. Okay. So I also showed him the crowdfunding aspect and how we want to bring a lot of people. He said, Benjamin, please, I need an agreement signed right now. Okay. So then the families, we realized that a lot of families, in Ghana especially, they are land rich, they're cash broke. I mean, I can, when you come here, I can take you on a tour. You meet a lot of chiefs, landowners. They're land rich, but they're cash broke because they don't have any system in place on how to market their land. So the land is just there forever. How many years some folks are going to come to them before they have money. So I realized these guys are very, very, they need help. So I went to them. I said, guys, I have, developers who are going to buy your land. Okay, just tell me the truth. If the land is yours, prove it to me. Okay, so I had all the negotiation and everything with them, did my checks, and then I provided an MOU. I said, okay, sign this MOU, hand the land over to my company. Okay, the company is not going to deal with you. They're only going to deal with a company. So you hand over this land, put it in the trust of Homebridge. Okay, and we are going to allow you to participate in this project. We are going to give you the opportunity to either invest some of your land, and get some of the properties or get cash. Yeah. So these guys were sold on it, and we signed an MOU with them. So I delivered the MOU to the developer. My company did not pay a dime, guys. So if you look at the industry, especially now, people are under pressure. People want to sell. People want cash. Okay. There's a lot of leverageable opportunity in real estate right now. So that's how I came into real estate. I'm not just going to do that deal. That deal also allowed me. I said to the guy, "Hey, you just pay 60% because I am making 100% margin. That's a lot of money." So I said, "Guys, let's structure the deal this way, because I know that this guy have a lot of contacts of people who can provide land, over 1,000 people. So I don't want any of them to come back, use relationship that is stronger than mine to knock me out." And I told this guy, instead of you chasing 1,000 people, just chase one guy, okay, one company. You know where we're operating from. So give us this deal, and if there's any litigation, if there's any issue, hold us responsible. And when you have this deal with us, here's the deal. Pay just 60% for this land. He was like, "Really? How are you going to do that?" I said, "Yes, I can do that. Pay 60%. We are going to invest 40% of the value into the project." So that's how I became I'm becoming a real estate investor. Okay. So I didn't pay for this land, guys. I didn't pay for this land. I delivered this land onto someone who needed. I structured the deal. So we're going to get 100% margin. We are taking 60% of that, 40% of that to go and play with, do some other investment and other crypto stuff. Okay. And this guy and his partners, they are all excited. The landowners are all excited. We are not, mind you, I'm very compassionate when I see people struggling. Okay. So these guys, we are not taking advantage of them. The price the landowners told us, we did not bargain too much with them, because these lands are on the outskirts of the cities. And this project is going to go across the 16 regions in Ghana. And, meaning we are going to supply in the excess of 25,000 acres, guys. So this deal has been signed and sealed. As I speak to you now, the process of transferring the funds to Ghana to commence the project, if not for the pandemic, it would have started in March. So what I'm trying to say is, if you have the knowledge, if you understand the industry, I read every book. Okay, I follow Kiyosaki every day. Robert Kiyosaki, right? Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy. I follow him everywhere he goes, and I read every book that have real estate on top of it. Every article. Okay, so you need the knowledge first. Think and grow rich, as my brother said, and then you look for way. Okay, from my perspective, look for the loophole. Look for the loophole that you can leverage on. Okay. So that is my take on it. So you don't, if you're listening to me now, you don't need money to come into real estate, to become a real estate investor, especially in Africa. The loophole is there. Just take advantage of it. Thank you.
I'm so excited right now, guys. First of all, if you guys think that this show is interesting, please give me some hearts. Give me some heart and mention there below, making a comment that you love the show and you love more and more of these, and also share this particular.
Sorry, guys, that's my director of lands commenting. He knows. That's him there, Reverend Jerry Ajay. That's my director of lands. He's in charge of lands.
But let me comment
so
on
he's
this.
The deal.
Because the reality is this in Africa, right? He says the true situation both in Ghana and Africa is that the landowners are land rich but cash broke. Here's the thing. You come in the middle, but you understand the mindset. You understand the think and grow rich mentality. You don't need any money for you to transact. All you need to do is to learn how to structure transactions, so that if you know the landowner and you know the guy who's got the money, you will be able to put them all together. Because the reality is, the guy with the money wants to come in Africa or wants to invest in some project around Africa, but he just doesn't know how, and he doesn't know where to go. And the guy with the land doesn't necessarily know the guy who's got the money. But guess what? You are the broke person. In fact, you just broke by the bank account. But you shouldn't be broken here. You are the broke individual with a rich mindset that allows you to be able to engineer these transactions and start putting things together. And guess what? You become the magnet. And you can even create a brand new company just by your abilities to structure a transaction for one deal, and eventually start repeating those deals multiple times over. Now, before we move on, there's a question, guys, that I want to bring up on the screen, and let's see whether we can actually answer that. So Senzele asked the question, gentlemen, I've always wondered, what's the real interest on investment or investing in real estate? And how do you stay focused during the process while heading to a profit? Daniele, do you want to address that question?
I think it's first of all, real estate is interested because it's real. There is a physical asset. It's very simple. There are people.
I love that.
Yeah, there are people that want to see where the money goes into. So, because there are some people that still believe that whatever money they have in the bank account is backed by something physical, which is no longer true since 1971.
Right.
So, but still, people believe that they must see where the money goes into so as not to feel uncomfortable. So that's, I believe, one of the main motivation. And number two, over time, real estate has proven to be, I mean, always successful, regardless of how much in a different region of the world. And so somehow there is a very long-lasting trend that gives confidence to people. I don't believe that we maximize the return of investment in the way we structure the deal, as just mentioned before. I think we can do much better.
Yeah. In fact, you posted that today, right? The net positive income is impact. Rather, is
impact.
Absolutely. Let me ask you a couple of random questions that I normally get here and there before we move on to the next step, right? What do you make, Milan? Let me ask you the question, especially during this pandemic, right? So somebody lives in a property, somebody has a bond, and maybe that bond, it's like, normally we know it's a typical 20 years, right? And that person has probably been about 5 or 6 or 7, 8 years just servicing that particular bond. What do you think these guys can actually do in moments like these? And we know they're also going through financial difficulty. What do you think they could do? That's one question. I mean, look, that I have, or 3.
Right. It really depends what's the situation they're in right now. Are they struggling financially? If they're struggling financially, how much cash flow they have to apply for all these different reliefs, because their main thing now is to save that property. If they're not able to save it, they'll be forced to sell it. Unfortunately, what can you do? I mean, if you're living in that property, you're paying it off, you don't have any income, your job is gone, your company went bankrupt, you're stuck. You're stuck if you don't have any money coming. I mean, a lot of people apply for different reliefs with the banks to help them postpone that payment for the bond. But how long can that really last? 3 months or so? I mean, I know there's some people apply, they get like 3 months relief, but we don't really know how long this lockdown is going to last. So for them, it's like, I think each person should see, what are my options right now? How much relief can I really get from the banks if I'm tied up to that bond? And let's postpone that, because I'm postponing the payment, right? But eventually, how much cash I have right now? Do I need some overdrafts, some loans from the bank if I'm going to use them, right? But eventually, if this thing lasts till next year, it's going to be very, very challenging for most people who are tied up, because they won't have any more money. How are they going to pay for these bonds, right? They can't even get a tenant to help them pay, because tenants, they won't even pay. They know that the market is down. They're going to go somewhere else. People lost jobs, thousands of people right now already. And we just what's the second month in South Africa? We don't know. I mean, I heard some rumors till next year, January, to level 1. It's going to be very, very difficult. I'm just afraid that they will be forced to sell. However, there is a way. There is a way as an investor to approach them and help them save their properties. It's different some strategy. It's called installment sale agreement, to agree with them eventually. Okay, you can stay in that property. You can pay me somehow down the line, provided that property in 5 years from now might belong to me or back to you. So there's a lot of different agreements. But then again, if you buy yourself in that property, it becomes very difficult. But once you're surrounded with network with property investors, then you can sit down and see, can an investor help you? Can some other institution help you to save that property? There is a way, but again, people need to understand that you just might lose that property. You'll be forced to sell that property. Is there a way to save that property? And you can save it if you're open enough and consider all your options. I really hope that people won't get into this position during this pandemic, but I'm just afraid there's a lot of people, because of the lack of cash flow, they don't have enough money to sustain during this period. They will be forced to sell their hard-earned properties. And that's where the challenge is. You're emotionally attached to your properties. That point of leaving a legacy fades away, and people are going to start asking themselves, why was I working so hard for this property, for my kids and grandkids? Now I have to let it go. Very, very difficult situation. But then again, they can prevent that happening. It's not late, even right now, looking for opportunities, building that network, build relationship, and eventually, when you have more people in the network to understand the process, you'll be able to stand still during this pandemic.
So let me ask you a follow-up question on that, and still with you, Milan. Do you maybe two more questions? So let you know, do you advise this person to stay in that property? Do you advise this person to broker some kind of deal? Do you advise the person to get out of the property and find a way to rent? What is your advice for that kind of a person?
Right. I mean, look, as an investor, I always give people a choice, right? If property doesn't make you money, you should sell it. Oh, but I'm emotionally attached to the property. My kids grew up here. If the property doesn't make you money, it's not a good deal anymore. It might be in 10 years from now, but we don't know what's going to happen in 10 years from now. What if you can sell that property, make some profit with it, take that money, buy a couple of other properties, and you have cash flow coming in your pocket from that first month of buying it? Choice, right? Keep that property that you're emotionally attached to. Wait for 10 years. Maybe you see some return. Maybe you won't. You don't know what's going to happen. But if you take that money, that million, whatever you have, right? Invest in different smaller properties. Each one might give you something in your pocket from that first month. You tell me how much you're going to have in 10 years from now versus that property that's waiting for the value to increase. But I want you to think differently. What if you buy a property? Buy a property. From that first month, that property is putting the money in your pocket, and at the same time, you hold on to that property. You kill two birds with one stone. Why? The value is growing. In 10 years from now, the value should be higher, but also you're making profit every single month in your pocket with rental. Rent is increasing every single year, 8% normally in South Africa. So next year, you're going to have more money coming in your pocket from that month, right? Value is increasing, hopefully. If the market crashes, if another pandemic crashes down, doesn't really matter. You might lose value, but you're still generating profit from that first month. That's what matters. Never rely on one strategy. If you're just staying in the property, waiting for what? For your money to disappear, for value of your property to go down, so that you sell it because you're distress motivated, so it becomes very difficult. Look for other strategies and do them at the same time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Look, ladies and gentlemen, and for you who are following, this is a show whereby we want to encourage you to understand some of the tactics about real estate investing and so forth. And we still have got a few chunk of subject we want to tackle on, tapping into blockchain, tokenization, and smart contract, whereby Daniele is going to give a lot of insight. But Milan gives some information based on what he has been able to build and achieve so far. Building a multi-million rand property portfolio in South Africa, not being South African, but giving you an incentive to realize, you know what, you have to be searching. And somebody mentioned in a comment right earlier on, and I think that's Sia, and I'm going to bring that on again. She said that she is from Soweto in South Africa, and she likes the approach. I think one of the approach that Milan or Benjamin mentioned, more so because it allows you to learn a lot more along the way until you're able to stand on your own feet. That's what it's all about. So for you guys often say, hey, you know what? No, I don't want to, want to buy a property because I don't want to pay somebody else's bonds. I'm like, whenever somebody mentions that to me, I realize that person doesn't understand what money means. Understand what money means. Understand what it means for you to invest. Understand as well what does investing means. I mean, an investment can only be called an investment if it is making you money. But if it is not, and you have emotional attachment to it, it's a liability. Yeah. It's an investment. Yeah. And also, have you made it in life? Have you reached a point whereby you feel like, wow, I've made it in life. Now I want to buy a property that I can call home, that I can put there for my kids, right? So think of it that way. And I think we as an African people need to go through and rethink and relearn. In fact, we need to unlearn and relearn. But that's the willingness out there. You need to be willing to go through that particular process. But the one topic that I want to move into is for investors, right? Somebody who goes into investment and so forth, whether he builds a property, an agency and so forth, one key fundamental element will be marketing. And considering that the pandemic is going on right now, what are the marketing strategies that we can apply for us to be successful in real estate?
I can start providing a general framework, especially in this period of time. I believe the thinking big, meaning thinking to address a global marketing, a global platform, a global offering, don't think is a good idea as a whole, especially also for real estate as well, because of several reasons. I'm much more on the idea that working on the local level, building small strategies, and being able to successfully implement them, execute them, gives the traction and the confidence to scale, which is counterintuitive because people think because of Facebook, because of Instagram, because of the whole social platform, you can address a worldwide community of investor in one click, in one shot, and becoming, immediately either rich or famous, or you can immediately reach investors and interest in what you're doing. So I would approach a very local uh, um, fashion, meaning that addressing a local community could be in the country and even in the region of a country, being successful there, and being able to measure the return of your success in what you're doing, and then iterate on a smaller, bigger scale, not thinking in a too big fashion mode.
Okay, Milan, do you want to say something on that?
I mean, look, I think people need to get out of their shelves and realize that, if people don't know who you are, what you do, you won't have any business regardless of what you do in life, even with property, right? If you're an investor, you need to get out of there and let people know that you're an investor. If you're looking for deals, same thing, right? I mean, there's a lot of different ways, even on Facebook. Doesn't even have to cost a lot to create a little marketing model. I mean, I'm a fan of advertising on online social media. I mean, you have a massive social media following. Just why not, present something to your following, because this worked for you and you want to help other people, right? Where are the opportunities? What do you have in your sleeve? I mean, it's simply building relationship. But if nobody knows you, you come to me and say, hey, Milan, I have a deal. Hey, look, I don't really know who you are, right? Well, let's talk a little bit. Let's build a bit of a trust. Who are you? Where are you coming from? What is your story? What did you go through life? And then, when you have something together in common, then we can sit down and talk about it. But all again, it's about letting people know what you do and letting people know your story, because people obviously buy from people, but they want to know who you truly are. What do you stand for? Are you in it just for the money, or you really here to help people? You want to change lives? Look, I went into property because I wanted to change people's lives, because I know that education changed my life, a lot of other students' lives, and it can change everybody's as well. So being able to understand, you have a social media profile and you put it on private, doesn't really make sense, right? Put it on public. People need to know what you do, but don't really post those kind of, I'm drinking with my buddies and friends. Like, post really what your business is. What do you stand for? What is that message? People talk about, I want to change lives. How you want to change lives? What are you planning to do? Even maybe don't do anything right now, but what are you really planning to do, right? Hey, I want to go into properties. I'm looking for deals. Tell people, right? Don't be afraid to say it. Yeah. Look, right now we're on a lockdown. Everybody's in a lockdown. If you don't have a presence online, you're nobody. Your business is going under the table. You need to be able to. That's why you're doing all these interviews. It's amazing getting people together. So breaking that pattern. Look, this is who I am. I'm not afraid to say it, to show it. This is what I do. And whether you like it or not, you're going to attract some people. You have your friends that like you for who you are. Also, your business partners will like you for who you are. Simple as that. Marketing is a powerful tool to get your message across, to get in partnership with powerful people, your network, and essentially to build the network to the level where you want to be.
And just to add on that, Milan, a lot of people, right? So they have a product or they have a service, and they have a social media presence. But the one thing is, and I often tell them, how do you want people to know what you do, what you sell, what you offer, if you don't talk about it? So today, it is a lot cheaper with the tools we have for us to be able to advertise and speak exactly about who we are and what we want to be able to achieve in life. But let me move on very quickly on two aspects before we dive into the tokenization and blockchain space. Development and commercial property. What is your take on that right now, considering the pandemic that's going on right now? Real estate,
well,
commercial property. Benjamin, can you chime in there?
Yeah, I want to comment on on that. Yeah, I think commercial property, like my brother Milan said, is struggling right now because I went to Accra Mall the other day. Everywhere is locked down. I mean, everywhere is locked down. So you see some shops actually put it. They've shut down. I mean, we are taking deliveries right now. So meet us online. Hey, that's where everything has gone to. So as an entrepreneur, I don't think post COVID-19, the commercial property will be the best place to be looking at. I think we need to begin to look at how to go into more urbanization, urban development, and town development and all stuff like that, apartments and stuff like that. The commercial space will struggle for a while. I don't know how long it's going to be. Okay, but the truth is, this pandemic has also brought a very sharp, shift to the business world globally. So people are beginning to realize, and the good thing about it for me, or for the Homebridge team, is that before now, if you tell the people beyond let's say people in their late 30s understand when you talk about digital marketing or buying something online. But if you talk to any Ghanaian or any people here about okay, we have a platform, you can buy real estate online, they think you're just joking. Okay, but the pandemic has actually come rather to shift that mindset. So going forward, I don't think if you go into the commercial space, you are gonna survive, because folks are shutting down the shops now. Of course, people were struggling to pay rent. There are a lot of business, restaurants, coffee shops and all that. They were just barely existing. Some were not making profit because the rent is so high. Okay, so this is a miracle for some of them. Okay, everybody is going to go online. So if you want to develop, looking at the housing deficit that is to the roof, I think you should be focusing on developing residential properties and other kinds of properties, but not the commercial properties. Thank you.
Great. So let's move into one question. I'm going to ask you guys one question to each, and then
over to you, John.
To the blockchain and real estate and asset tokenization. So what I want to ask you, Milan, let me start with you. Who can invest in real estate? Is it only high net worth individual? That's exactly what the HNYI means, or anyone with any budget?
Look, I would say anyone. Obviously, I mean, if you have good credit score and more money, that might help you to kind of speed up the process. But anybody can start regardless. Anybody can start getting the right knowledge, looking for deals, building the network, doing the first middle sourcing agents deals. And eventually, when they accumulate enough profit, they can buy, partnering up with different. There's a lot of different, but anybody can, and they should start. If you look at the property, like Daniela said, it's like something they can see it, they work hard for it, people can buy it, they can build a legacy and have it done. Anybody can and should start eventually. But again, high network individuals, people with money, they don't really know what to do with it. It's like, and that's why always questions I'm getting, like, should I buy it? Because I can't buy it. Should I buy it now? And when they have a choice in front of them, every single one would always opt for an option for, okay, maybe I should rather invest in several properties because they're the ones to put in the profit in my pocket. So regardless of where you're coming from, what's your background, how much money you have, your knowledge you have, doesn't really matter. It's all about knowledge, learning about it, and being open to it, understanding that whatever you know right now is not the end of the day, right? That there is so much more to learn, and learning from the right people, right? Anybody should invest in property at some point of their lives and consider and not let all these obstacles like, oh, it's too difficult, I don't have any money. Don't let that stop you. Find out how other people doing it without any money, and you can do exactly the same thing. And here's the thing to remember. If someone else was able to do it, it's not impossible anymore. That means that you can do exactly the same thing.
Daniele, do you want to tell me exactly about what your thoughts are? High net worth individual or anybody with any budget?
I think anybody. The thing is that I've seen with my eyes, with my friends, with my peers, that people that are not professionals, so I'm people on the main street, they look every time they approach to the very first deal or in the very first deals, they're always looking for the perfect deals, and that's the difference between somehow the amateurs, those that are doing this for for the very first time, and those that are professionals. So I think the best tip I can give here is to ask advice to someone you really trust. Okay. You can save time and money, because sometimes people are afraid to ask. And you have to be very humble to say, I'm not an expert, so can you help me? And how can I approach a deal? Because you might have some constraints. So if you really like that type of asset and you want to buy that one, you don't have much more, leverage there because you're really stuck. And the seller will see that, and eventually the negotiation will be in his favor. But if you ask advice to people, which you trust them, and even if you pay for advice, of course, then you can save time, and then at the end you end up in doing a good deal. So, and trying to find your way to do it properly without being shy and asking for advice, because people that are not professional are not professional. They might do something else in life, and they're doing the first transaction, and they might not expect to do a perfect deal. So, and this is something I do see every day, and it's the same in finance. People buying stocks on eToro, not having a clue what a stock is, but just seeing some graphs, and eventually they do a project, they project how it's going to be in the future. It's like this. So in education system, people are not taught of what money is and how they can invest their money into something. So this means we all start from level 0, and we all start from being amateurs there. So go and educate yourself, ask for advice, and practice and practice and practice.
And I
John,
think that
I would like to come in
go
a little
on, go
bit.
on.
Yeah. From my perspective, that is what Homebridge is, coming in to do, to actually create access for all in real estate. Because I started from zero. Okay, so we are looking at fractionalization, tokenization, putting a piece of property in the hand of every African. We want to unlock wealth through that strategy, because it's high time we begin to focus on what real asset is, which is the meaning of real estate. Okay, if you are going to throw your money into different kind of stuff that you don't really understand, this is something that you can put your money into. And like my brother Daniel say, it's real, it's tangible. Okay, but now we are also digitizing it. So the issue of transparency, security, of asset and vis-a-vis, all this one, once our platform is ready, John, pretty much about that. We are still discussing, and our partnership we are progressing. Once this platform is ready, anybody, anyone can just put your money. Yeah, with $1, you can invest. You can become a real estate investor. And here's the deal. The reason we want to do this is because Africans, I have from where I sit, I know a lot of friends who have pushed money into scam programs. Okay, so it tells me that people, because of the knowledge, like Daniel said, we go to school, we don't learn about money. So folks, immediately they hear that, you get 100%, 50%, they don't care to know what the deal is about. They don't read, they don't understand it. They put the money into it. But we are saying, hey guys, these are tokens, these are stable tokens, okay? When these properties are fractionalized, you can have a fraction, just a piece of it. Okay, just keep it. And this deal can give you money, in the long run. So, and our motivation is that we want to, open up the market for everyone to come in. And from there, real estate developers, which is one loophole Homebridge is taking care of, they struggle too much. It takes them 5 years, 7 years, writing proposals to the US, to the UK, everywhere, looking for loans to build houses in Africa. And this money is in the pocket of Africans. Africans rather throw this money away into scam programs. Buy this, So from there, the developer will have more money. When we have more people participating, on blockchain, this is a system you can trust. Okay, because I believe in the KTB, system, whereby you trust and you buy. So that is the change we are bringing in. So I just wanted to chip in that. Thank you.
And you know what, Ben, thank you very much indeed for mentioning that, because that's the one thing that transitions us into the second last part of this particular beautiful conversation. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you that this is a conversation about real estate investing, as well as now the tokenization of these properties, which is the part we are talking about now. And we may take about another 15 minutes just to finalize, to wrap this up, so you can really understand exactly the essence of what Benjamin just mentioned, the most important aspect of digitizing that part. I do believe honestly, in my humble opinion, and this is one thing that I preach in my events, and Daniela, you've listened to me speak in Dubai and so forth. I do believe that Africans have got so much money that if only they understood the value of money, they understood exactly that we as an African people can build for Africans by Africans, there will be less going overseas or in America to start raising money there to build in Africa.
Yeah.
And guess what? By raising money there to build in Africa, what are you doing? You're still giving a huge portion of your return to them because they're bringing the money in and they're building. And then over the long term, guess what? Who is making the greatest wealth? They are. And a lot of people often talk about Africa being the next development era for the Europeans and so forth. Okay, Europe has been built already. America has been built. And guess what? They're saying Africa is the next. Africa is the next. What are they going to do? They're going to bring all that money into Africa, structuring deals so that the yields, the returns of these transactions, 80% or more go back where? Go back to them.
Yeah, that's right.
The only way.
That's right.
Now you need to be able to
So we need
learn.
to change that. Yeah.
You need to be able to learn fundamentally how to restructure these things. So you've got access to money. Instead of spending tons of money in one single day buying lots of assets, you guys know I don't want to mention names. in a single day, a transaction that will not benefit you or your neighbor. Start channeling money into meaningful transactions. For example, housing problem. If the government cannot do it, instead of me spending 15 million in buying cars, I can spend 15 million in buying properties or empowering entrepreneurs that can build properties so that we can actually multiply. And in about 2 or 3, 5 years, guess what? We do a 1000x return. Those are the mindset we need to start cultivating. And the next thing brings me into the conversation about blockchain technology. How do we apply that in real estate and asset tokenization? Daniele, I want you to define in one sentence what the blockchain means. I don't want you to be technical. I don't want you to be, I just want you to simplify it so we can actually tap into why are we today choosing to tokenize companies and the revenues in order to be able to provide profits to investors.
Yeah, in simple terms, without going in technical terms. So I will say what blockchain enables as an innovative element, which did not exist before blockchain. So essentially, blockchain enables to make a transaction between two or more parties without the need that the two parties shake hands and trust each other, because the technology verify the level of trust. If the level of trust meet the criteria, what transaction can happen. So in other words, if on the real world, I have to ask you, for example, give me your ID document or tell me who you are, when we do a transaction on the blockchain verifies whether the criteria that have been defined to make the transaction are being met or not, okay? We don't need to go too much in detail. In real estate, this is so important for two reasons. Number one, this ensures to digitize the whole paper workflow as part of the deal structuring, which is part of the traditional deals. You need to go verify the land, you need to transact, you need to identify who the people are and go through some very labor-intensive process. All this can be completely digitized and transacted in the blockchain. And number two, once you create the so-called token, which contain all the elements attached to the real estate, could be equity, could be ownership, could be a derivative, could be an exotic token. So once you create this token, the beauty of the blockchain is that this token can be traded, so meaning that can be used in a platform of so-called exchanges, and people can speculate out of it. Speculation is not a bad word. Speculation is someone that believes that the asset will increase or will decrease in value and will put their money against the consensus or with the consensus to obtain an advantage. It doesn't necessarily mean a negative term. So the blockchain allows to do this on a worldwide basis. So this means that if you have an asset just based in Ghana and you want an investor from the United States to buy a piece of this asset, he can do it, provided that the token is structured to welcome United States investors. All this is ensured by the blockchain. And before the blockchain, this was not possible. We don't need to understand what blockchain is. We need to understand what the blockchain delivers in business terms.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that gets done beautifully through the implementation of what is known as smart contract, because a smart contract is essentially a piece of code that simply puts together the nature of a transaction between two or multiple parties. And you've mentioned something very nice just now, Daniele. You've mentioned that for the first time in history, somebody in the US and somebody in South Africa, somebody in India can, for the first time, be able to invest in a property development project in Ghana through a smart contract and the tokenization process of it, allowing him to be able to build wealth. And that is going to allow us to also create a bucket of liquidity, which is the next topic that I'm going to talk about right now. So having mentioned this, Benjamin, I want you to mention to me exactly how do you think, for example, tokenizing asset as part of the project we have on Homebridge can contribute towards wealth creation for investors, be it in Africa or around the world?
Well, I will come in this way. A lot of people are actually on social media, but sadly enough, for you to know, a lot of people are not really getting the right information or looking out for the right information that would make them money. Okay, I shut down my Facebook account for about 3 years now because it wasn't making me money and a lot of junks every time. So I decided I'll come back to Facebook when my business is set up and my business will go to Facebook. So that's where we are. I think we just my IT personnel just created the page a few days ago. Now, if you are reading, if you are studying about this sector and how to create wealth, World Economic Forum, Wealth, and Deloitte has projected that by 2025, between 2025 and 2027, which is just 2 years from now, up to 10% of global GDP will be stored and transacted on blockchain technology.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to a business person, an entrepreneur? You need to begin to look out for this opportunity because that is the market coming. Okay, so some people that I send this message to come on this show, I send them a message, say, hey guys, come on to this show and listen to what we are discussing today about this emerging digital property industry that is emerging. Because for me, this is a new phase from where the old guys brought real estate. This is the next phase. So tokenization, of property is a beautiful thing. I took my time to study this system. Okay, I have watched tons of YouTube videos. I have read. I consume information on how this thing is going to help, and that's why today I am so passionate about it. Now, guess what, guys? When you look at, for instance, one of the problems, the huge problem in Ghana, okay, and other African nations is liquidity. Okay, so when you look at the bank currently, myself, I've been to a lot of banks, and when you discuss real estate with them, this is how they tell you, hey, Benjamin, that topic is not to be discussed here. They are running away from real estate. Why? Because a lot of them got very good proposals, very good business plans from some smart guys who put some pieces together and came to pull money from the banks. Okay, and say, oh, bank, we are going to develop properties. We are going to give you so return. And they did that, but they did not do their market, their feasibility studies very well. So you realize that in Ghana, the housing deficit is hitting the roof, but then the people struggling, the people building the houses are struggling to sell. So there are a lot of houses standing that are not being sold. So that's where tokenization come in for me. Okay, because for us to bridge that gap, we need to be able to, tokenize this asset. We need to be able to put the piece of asset. For instance, let me strike a very, very realistic example that everyone can relate with. Think about it this way: you are a real estate company. You build, let's say 20 apartments or 20 houses. You're trying to sell them. In Ghana, the average house you can see on the market is about $250,000. How many Ghanaians, even if you give them 50 years mortgage, people can buy it? Okay, but about 10, 20 Ghanaians can buy this piece of property as an investment property. Okay, they are going to take that piece of property. Everybody will have their share in token. There has been a very, very, unusual, problem related to real estate investment by multiple parties, which is who is going to hold a piece of paper, because there's just one representative of that property standing. Okay, it's a paper, and this paper is subject to, forgery. People can forge it, and anything can happen. There can be an accident or fire or whatever. And even husband and wife can't even buy one property because of the trust issue. So with the blockchain and tokenization, I think this is the best opportunity for millennials, okay, and people who are open-minded, who want to invest, because like I said, this piece of property, 20 people, the real estate companies are struggling because they want to be able to sell this property $200,000 to one individual, okay, and that people don't have that money in Ghana. But 10 Ghanaians, 20 Ghanaians, the young people working in MTN, working in the bank, working in the ministries, can put their money together to buy this piece of property as an investment property. And it's only tokenization that allowed that to happen, because everyone is going to get direct proportion of their investment in token. And this is on blockchain. It's something you cannot tamper with. It's tamper proof. Okay, it's secured. It's immutable. Immutable rather. It's immutable. So when you look at it from this perspective, you realize that Africa needs this today. Really, whether as a real estate developer, and our platform is going to welcome everybody, because the biggest problem now in the industry, is with the developers. They have been doing the same thing. Everybody has been doing the same thing, and they've all come to a roadblock. So our platform is going to onboard developers. Our platform is going to, there are no agents on our platform, okay, because it's a mess. I don't want to go into that today. We are not bringing agents. The platform that around connects people to agents. So a lot of people get swindled.
Beautiful. As it continues to bring back the connection, Daniele, I want to bring you in so we can talk about the importance of liquidity in the real estate market. And I think that Benjamin mentioned quite a few of those elements earlier on. Please tell me exactly why the blockchain, for example, would solve the liquidity problem in real estate today, and how.
Well, first of all, it depends whether we're talking about primary market or secondary market. So if we,
this is what, in fact, this is the part where I now want you to explain to the audience the difference between the primary market and the secondary market, indeed.
Okay, so essentially, the primary market is composed by actors that buy directly, in this case, the token, which is a fraction of ownership and equity, or bond, directly from the token issuer. So via so-called private rounds or private sale. So before the token is being publicly accessible to the market. That's the so-called primary market. Depending on the jurisdiction, it takes a while to bring the token accessible to the public market throughout exchanges. And typically this time frame is about 12 months. I'm talking about the UK, for example, the US, but this is going to change over time, but at least now it's still 12 months. So this means if I am a professional investor and I'm buying a piece of ownership of an asset, a real estate asset, it takes 12 months before this token, which I purchased right now, can be traded over secondary market, over an exchange. So as someone eventually can buy my token because I sell the token for, let's say, 10% markup. Okay, so this is the time distance between primary and secondary markets. But it comes down to liquidity. So the liquidity issue is much more for the secondary market than for the primary market. Because right now, as long as a token issuer, so let's say an asset owner, has an interesting asset, it's only about finding the right network to connect the ones who sell and the ones who buy. Okay, so, and when we do this in private rounds with block certs, we work with a network of broker dealers in different jurisdictions. So this means, for example, if we have an asset or a token offering, which can be advertised in the US because the token is being registered to the SEC in the US, we can promote this offering to the US investors via a licensed broker dealer in the country, which has the network of potential investors to whom to present the deal and say, hey, I have a great deal, I'm interested into it, and promote the deal because it's licensed to do so. And this at Blocksearch, we plan to do it on a worldwide basis. This means we will be working with a network of broker-dealer in any relevant jurisdiction to promote every token offering in any interesting jurisdiction. There might be a regulatory trick because this token offering should be adapted to the regulatory constraints of the country, depending on what the country allowed to do. So liquidity, coming back to the question, at the moment is not an issue in the primary market. For the secondary market, my take, there's no fundamental leakage of liquidity, but the liquidity depends how the deal is being structured. And I'm much more specific. So if I plan to sell an equity token or an ownership, real estate ownership token, I cannot plan to have much movements on the secondary market. Right. So at the end, who brings liquidity in the secondary market is the traders that come into an exchange and bring their money to buy this token. So technically speaking, there's no problem of liquidity right now. There is a problem how the token is being structured, because if you want to trade an equity or a fraction of ownership, you should not expect to have many traders interested to buy and sell. I'm much more into tokens which are built to address the secondary market, so as liquidity comes by itself.
Correct. Because if it is there to just trade and sell, that is tampering on the actual value of the token itself.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It will damage the value of the property over the long term, because then people will say, hey, you know what? Okay, what's going on here? I'm actually holding this little thing, but it doesn't have value and so forth. So that's why I think, depending on how we structure the smart contract to address the needs of that particular token and how we want to build value for the actual property over the long term, those are the key important things. Correct. So before we move on, because we have two last topics to talk about, I just want to address three questions that are quite fundamental. One of them is my young brother. He's actually in Amsterdam right now. Hey, man, good to see you here, bro. He's asking, how can Africans leverage the blockchain technology to participate in this brave new world, knowing that the continent is greatly lacking the infrastructure? I think that's the important element, right? So let's say you go in the Bundu somewhere, you go to Nigeria somewhere, or you go to the DRC where there's serious issues with regard to infrastructure. Although I often say, from my perspective, that, you know what, as long as I have access to internet, that's what I need. What are your viewpoints, Daniele?
Well, I mean, I'm very well with you. So first of all, getting access to internet, educate on what a wallet is, and then you're good to go. So because technically speaking, what blockchain delivers is empower people to financial freedom, no matter where they're born. So this means as long as you're aware that blockchain can empower people via, for example, a wallet. So this means a digital container of an asset, for example, money. And then you can, as long as you are into the system, and for example, you hold Bitcoin, just an example, you can participate technically to any transaction, provided that you come from a country which is being allowed by this token offering. So this means, number one, understand what does it mean having a wallet, where to, how to configure a wallet, be part of a system. So starting with the digital currency, Bitcoin, could be also USDT. So this means the digital dollar from Tether. And then you're good to go. You just educate yourself and then participate into something and then see whether you apply your strategy. And I'm always repeating not to think about it, that if you buy $1 Bitcoin, then you do 20x in a couple of days. So it doesn't work like this. So this means people should have the patience. So for me, it's about 1 to 2 years to understand what are the dynamics before they're really getting an upside out of it. So meaning being internet access and patience.
Does location matter when it comes to investing in real estate? And I think that's a question that I can actually ask to the both of you. Milan, from a traditional sense of investing in real estate, what are your thoughts on this particular question? Does it matter to invest in a specific location and so forth? And maybe I can add a twist onto that, right? I do believe that if I invest in real estate just for making money, I don't care about the location. I care more about where it's going to produce me more cash flow. Right? Yeah. So that's my perspective. But please tell me, let's respond to Tapelo. What are your views on that?
No, I agree. I mean, it's a great question, but essentially is really understanding the location. and what can you really do there? Like what kind of strategy is going to work in that particular location, right? You're not going to build like an office park somewhere in the middle of the nowhere, like, but you can do some other strategies in different like urban environments, right? In the cities, you really need to know what strategy is going to generate you the most profit in that area. But again, knowing a little bit about the area, knowing about the agents, who are the agents in the area, who you need to have an area expert, right? Someone to really give you more insight, what's happening in the area, what's the crime rate, what generates the most profit, what is the demand, are people buying or selling, and then you can establish your portfolio of strategies, which one's going to generate you more profit. So it really is understanding the area and then knowing what can you do in that area. I mean, any area has opportunity, but in different ways. Like if you're looking at investing in Cape Town, for instance, touristic area, but right now it's struggling. You know, Airbnb touristic, so you can't really go into different. You can, but the most profit will go through the touristic. Airbnb was booming before the lockdown, right? If you look at Pretoria, Joburg, residential, commercials, different areas, right? So really understanding the area so you can establish the strategy. That's what we call this strategy first, area, property at the end of the day, right? Establish a strategy which is going to work, and then you're going to buy the property at that point.
Beautiful, beautiful. Veronica is asking a question, and I know the reason why she's asking. She's so passionate about vertical farming, which you know, I never knew it was something called vertical farming, but apparently in Dubai or in the Middle East, it's something that is you know, considering the fact that it's quite they're in the desert or whatever. So vertical farming is something really booming. Now let's come back to South Africa. And there's a lot of lifestyle development for residential estate, and we see a lot of beautiful things going on here. What are your thoughts with regard to smart agriculture and soilless farming as part of lifestyle deliverables in real estate and so forth in the near future? Do you think this is something? I think either one of you can actually go on to respond to this question. What are your thoughts on that?
Please.
Anyway, I mean, if you look at, go ahead. That's fine.
Go.
Okay, I mean, I've been looking at it into a way of like, you know, it will be nice to have it, but are people really willing to pay for that? I mean, organic food and all different things are a bit more expensive than the regular one. And if you look like who's the majority of people in South Africa, can they really afford that kind of lifestyle? I mean, that's why we have different shops and grocery stores that offer different opportunities. I know it's like overseas in the US and Dubai, that's like it's a booming, it's a new trend, but can that really work here? I mean, considering that when you say people that, hey, you know what, this kind of food is double the price than a regular that you might get at Spar or different shops, eventually is like, can you really afford it? If we increase the style of living and economy in South Africa, possibly yes, but at this point after lockdown will be a lot of depression happening. So I think I don't see it anytime soon. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just kind of predicting what's happening now and how long is it going to take us to recover to get where we were before the lockdown, right? All the businesses that failed and failing right now, how long is it going to take us to get back into that status like it was before? Might take us years. And then we can consider alternative ways of, you know, like moving forward. I mean, Daniela, maybe you can add
no, I think I have a much more, let's say, a broader point of view in terms of not very specific, which is we said before that we are not taught to learn what money is. And there is a second, that we are not taught what food is, which is even more important than money, I guess. So this means we do not receive, and I started to study food a couple of years ago, proper information about nutrition and what are the biological reactions that our body is exposed to. So coming back, if all of us had learned a book called China Study, probably we will all eat world food and organic food, and probably there will be a natural development of a new lifestyle, a way of doing things.
Sure.
So, and so this means for me, it's much more a problem of education on and marketing at the end than anything else. So I don't think that we are ready anytime soon to switch because there are too much money at stake on the other part of the economy.
Beautiful. So wrapping up, let's talk a little bit about, can real estate be easily acquired and or liquidated? Any of you can kick off.
It's how you position yourself, I would say. I mean, you you can get it easily, you can have it in your possession, but to keep it, right, what's going to take you for you to keep? If you rely on that one income stream, which might be your job, and you lose that job in pandemic or crisis and the recession happens, then you lose that property, right? You really want to build it to keep it and build other income streams to property, right? I mean, liquidation comes when you didn't really think about it. You get to your 50s and 60s, you're waiting for your pension check to come in, and just doesn't happen. Economy goes down, you lose your property, lose everything, legacy, what you were working so hard for. I think, like, regardless where you coming from right now, and what's your how old are you, where you in life right now, start thinking as soon as possible to build other income streams, whatever that is. And in terms of property, as many properties that you can build, look into that. It's 8 properties better than having one, right? If one of 8 fails, you have other 7 to cover that. So diversifying in so many different areas, properties, building one and helping through that network as well, looking for other deals. Eventually, I want everybody to have like a block of flats that will take care of you and your generations to come. And the value should eventually grow. But combining different strategies so that you don't even have to worry about liquidation. If you lose that one property out of many, who cares? You still have others, right? But if you lose that one out of one, then you're really risking a difficult position. So thinking a little bit ahead, right? I want to have more properties. How do I get to that point? What do I need to do? What kind of people I need to have in my network? What are the strategies? What are the ways of funding so I can have multiple property streams of income, which hopefully the value should grow, cash flow should grow, and get myself and my family down the line in a much, much better position.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and
Daniele?
to me, it's about hedging, which is a financial term, and building anti-fragility. So, which means building something which benefit from a collapse of something else, which is at the end is a hedge. So this means people, common people not dealing with finance, obviously, they don't know what hedge is, and eventually they put all the eggs in the same nest, which is a very risky strategy, because if it goes well, it's fine. But if it doesn't go well, then you might end up in being bust. And this is something people should avoid at any cost. So sometimes try to diversify the risk, working on building a portfolio of assets that hedge each other, which might be complicated at the beginning, but over time is not an impossible exercise. It will help people for being in a very difficult position.
Milan, I want to ask you this question. Single family homes or multifamily homes? Which one is the best?
I mean, look, if you look at multi-let, multiple families, always if you have more families in your house, then there's more chance they're going to be paying you down the line. If you're looking from that landlord perspective, right? Single family, something goes wrong, they lose their job, and it's very difficult. Then you have to deal with different things. I would combine them. Look, in different areas, different strategies. Again, multi-let, multiple families. Right now, if you didn't know, students' accommodation is a massive opportunity. I mean, even though students might be at home, but universities are still paying for that. So it's really understanding the area, strategies, and combining them really. I mean, if you look at it like single family, and one of the family members lose a job, like a husband or wife, they lose a job, going through difficult time, they won't be really able to afford that payment anymore. So now you have to deal with different things, reliefs and agreements and evictions down the line. You've had to go to that point, but you really want to think about how not to be in that point. And like you mentioned, multi-let, multiple families, more tenants gives you kind of more safety in terms of a rent coming in your pocket.
Beautiful, beautiful. Guys, our last question. We've been about almost 2 hours, actually 2 on this show. It's been an interesting conversation, really. We've covered so many ground. But the one thing I want to do is I want each and every single one of you to mention the following thing. Your advice or steps to get started from your understanding, from where you are, your understanding and your experiences in whatever field. And I know, Milan, the one question I wanted to ask you is how do you, your correlation or understanding of the traditional market and crypto, because I know that you also do trading, the market, and you also do some crypto as well. But based on your understanding, if you do, great. If you don't, that's not a problem. I think you've heard 2 great minds here talk about blockchain. But what is the advice and what are the steps you can actually provide here to the audience for them to get started. This is our closing remarks, and if there are any questions from the audience, please put them down below so that my team can actually push them through. But please go ahead.
Right. I mean, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great, right? So you really want to go into property or anything else, you should start and then see how it goes and find someone to guide you along the journey, someone who's been there. Look for different coaches and mentors wherever you're from. I mean, there's brilliant people out there. And essentially really knowing where you're heading. What do you want to accomplish with this journey? I mean, how much you want to make per month if you look at the money, right? What kind of legacy you want to leave to your generations to come? What that really is, put a picture on it, put a figure on it, and eventually set yourself a deadline, 5, 10, 20 years from now, where you want to be. And then when you have this clear goal, then you'll know eventually how to get there. People will help you how to get there. But being able to be open to it, like, okay, I'm willing to learn. I'm ready to start. I'm starting tomorrow, Milan. What do I do next? Find someone that you resonate with, whose story resonates with you, who are the experts in the field, and say, look, I would like this person to teach me. I want to follow them on social media here and there. Let's see, how did you start it? Where opportunities are? How do I learn from you, right? We all need mentors and coaches here and there. And my advice is always, like, regardless how much you know, where are you right now in life? You might say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Look, there's a reason why we're here, why you're there, right? If you want to start, you have to accept the fact there's so much more to learn. I want to get there. I need to learn. Who are the people I need to learn from? And eventually, being open-minded, you're going to learn so much. You will take yourself to the next level.
Beautiful, man. Ben, I know you had some glitch. Please come on in and talk to me about what do you think that people need to be doing for them to get started so far. And you and I have an amazing that's going to benefit the people of Africa. Go on.
Yeah, thank you, John. I will come in this way. You just have to, be focused. We live in an age and a time where there are a lot of distraction, okay, from your, different apps on your phone distracting you, different things chasing you. Everybody is doing one program or the other. So if you want to do this, if you want to start, in real estate, if you want to make money, just get in and be focused. Okay. I have been doing this for the past 5 years, just doing one thing. A lot of things come my way. Sometimes, very good offers, very, good stuffs. But I tell myself, this is what I want to do for life. I don't want to sway to the left or to the right. So a lot of programs come up. People call you, hey, Benjamin, I know you're a great guy. You can do this. I know you can make this happen. Yes, it's true. I have that capacity. I have the, the tenacity to do that. But I don't want to go around doing a bunch of things, all kind of things. I want to be known for one thing and do it right. Okay, so that's what millennials, that's my advice, especially if you are below the age of 40, if you are listening to me right now. Your apps, your Instagram, everything distracting you, just calm down and focus. Okay, if you want to make money in this part of this industry, focus and learn. If you are going on social media, look for people that can teach you. Just like Milan said, have a mentor. Okay, I met a man here who came in from Canada. He's the CEO and the head, regional director for Remax, and that was a miracle for me. Okay, when I met this man, we had a deal to work together. But it was not like salary work for me kind of stuff. I was chasing him because I knew there was something that I could take from him, I could learn from him, and he gave me a crash program from a university, Remax University. That was my eye opener in real estate, and I still have that book. I have it in my in my library. I preserve that book like like a lifeguard. So every now and then I go back. I have marked throughout the pages. I've read it over and over and over. So that is what opened my eyes. So guys, when you come in, don't just rush. It's an industry that has been there, will always be there, but you need to be prepared because it's going to always be around. So my advice to anyone listening now, get in, get the knowledge, and be focused. Okay. And it's a long-term thing, right? I believe Milan and is a real estate expert, and he can attest to this fact. Real estate is not an industry you just come in and you think within 2, 3, 4 years you will make it. No, you're lying. It doesn't happen that way. No matter how smart you are, unless you understand the industry, you can't really make any impact. So that's my advice: focus and learn. Thank you.
Beautiful. Daniele, man, what's your wrapping term? Let's
I mean, everything it starts from being humble enough to ask yourself the right questions. Sometimes are tough because you don't dare to say yourself the truth. So it is a very difficult exercise, by the way. And secondly, I would say it's even more important for me is making sure you work with people that, as you have skin in the game, meaning that people that are truly committed, not on paper, but for real, to help you or to work with you to succeed. So the way you measure people with skin in the game, I mean, people that have upside to do something to help you should have a downside if something doesn't go in the direction you expect it to. And this is it's very it's very difficult to translate in life. But if you manage to translate this and engage with people that truly have skin in the game, it's just a matter of time, because at the end you'll succeed.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having afforded us and giving us 2 hours and 5 minutes of your time. And I do believe that this moment was not in vain. This was a moment to educate you guys. And I don't think that in 2 hours, you guys will be able to learn everything. And that's why we do offer masterclasses. We have some online academy. We have some in-class academy. The guys that you are seeing here are my business partners. We all work together in different parts of our businesses or our journeys. And as you can see, they are from all over the world. I bring to you the world. Over the last 4 years, I've traveled in many countries, and I've spoken in over 10 countries. Daniela and I have met in Dubai, in Singapore, and he's also traveling around the world a lot. He and I speak.
Not now.
Not now, yeah.
Milan is a phenomenal gentleman that I met, and quite honestly, his story was impacted my life a certain way, and I love his energy. And my man here, Benjamin, is another phenomenal, outstanding individual. I think that, and I believe for you guys, entrepreneurs who have been following, if you listen to his story, you would realize that, you know what, that's just the way we need to think. Okay. And all he has is ideas that he puts together and blending the people together for us to be able to make things work. So I thank you very much, Daniele, and I know that you need to go for supper. You probably
my pleasure. My daughter was screaming. I don't know what they're doing now.
So thank you very much. You and I are going to catch up pretty soon, and I'm going to say au revoir, merci beaucoup to you, and I'm going to take you out right now so you can say bye bye to the audience as I take everybody one by one. So Daniele, I'll see you very soon.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Pleasure to be here.
Benjamin, thank you very much. So you too as well. I know I have an engagement with you tomorrow, so you and I are going to talk. And thank you very much for coming on this particular episode. My man, Marianne, amazing. You are just such an energy. You are amazing. So I wanted you to listen to everybody here. You see how we can blend blockchain and tokenization of aspect of things and how we can work. When you did your first the masterclass that I actually attended, I told you guys are leaving a lot of money on the table. So how do we come in for us to be able to blend and help and give an opportunity to those who may not afford a full package for mentorship, okay, who cannot pay 150,000 rand for mentorship, but still want to be part of real estate. So we have a great way to make this happen. Thank you very much, man. You are just an inspiration for many people.
Thanks for having me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you soon. All the best.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. So I have a beautiful announcement for you guys on Monday. Monday is an amazing event. Monday, what am I doing? We are going to be talking about venture capital firms. So who am I bringing on the show? On the Redefine the Hustle show. It's going to be a little bit of a different show, not at 7 p.m., but at I do believe it's going to be at 6 p.m. Central African time. Who is coming? Vusi Tembekwaya is coming. Vusi Tembekwaya is the rock star speaking. He is a global business leader. He speaks all over the world, an international speaker, but also he is the managing partner and an investor of the My Growth fund. So I want you to come and listen on how exactly we are structuring deals for us to be able to raise capital and invest in projects. Okay, but I'm also going to bring in somebody from Silicon Valley. He's a billionaire. His name is Jeffrey Rich. So Jeffrey Rich is an amazing story. Currently, he is in Silicon Valley in California, and he took a company from a startup to a $5.3 billion. So he is a principal partner of a company called Plumtree Partners, and he and Vusi and I will be talking exactly about how do we fund blockchain project. And the one and only John Lombela, me, your host, and myself being here and talking to you as a founder of Innovecs Capital, and blending in quite a few elements from a blockchain perspective. So I'm going to be challenging the thoughts of Vusi as well as Jeffrey, not to be fighting on the show, but ultimately to bring in a new element, a new insight on how I do personally believe that we can stimulate a digital economy in times like these. So if the government cannot help us to reach to where we want to be, we as entrepreneurs can do it. And I posted on my Facebook the other day and I say, guys, you know what? Entrepreneurs should strive not to be involved in politics. I don't think that we need to be involved in politics. I do think that we don't need to have a blind eye to politics, but we should not be involved in the affairs of politics. Entrepreneurs need to work together on making things happen. And by the time we have a fantastic economy around the world, guess what's going to happen? Politicians are going to want to come and work with us, because the reality is, well, name me one politician you know who knows how to create money, who knows how to make money. They don't know how to make money. But the one thing is they do is to use a taxman money, right? Entrepreneurs are the guys who create economies, who stimulate economy and economic growth. And come in on Monday at 6 p.m. Central African time for you to be able to listen from 4 people. And my good friend, Dr. Walter Mandaza, is the one who will be moderating the show. And that means I will have the time to speak and respond to questions as well. But I thank you guys, and I wish you a great evening. And right now, I'm just going to leave you guys with an intro or outro of my specific show. Thank you very much. I love you guys, and speak to you soon.
Show where we're talking to digital entrepreneurs and black entrepreneurs that are actually doing great things. Let it be in the marketing space, let it be in cryptocurrency. This buzzword is coming all the time these days. It's something that, you know, a lot of people are interested into. And I brought back John Lombela, a good friend of mine who's been playing in that space for quite a while. You know, John is the cryptocurrency guru. I call him like that.
Go, guys.
And welcome back to the show.
John, we think, represents the future.
So can blockchain be a catalyst for development in Africa? Here is our interview with John Lombela.
John Lombela will talk to us about how hedge funds are navigating the market conditions.
I've seen some amazing people who are already working on phenomenal opportunities. And therefore, as entrepreneurs, and I'm an entrepreneur myself, all the way from South Africa, it is important to always develop new things, right? So ambitiously build new cases beyond just financial services. What is important for us is to focus more on the applications that are going to serve the purpose of the public, the guys that we are actually solving problems for. So those are the things that we need to be able to focus on. Take a leap of faith. Make sure that you review your blockchain with the peers and your application to see if they are blockchain ready. So it is really exciting times.